Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cleveland Sports Bros podcast. I'm Matt alongside my brother Nick. Nick, how you doing today?
Great, ready to talk about Browns game on Victory Monday.
Yep. I was just gonna say the same thing. Browns Victory Monday. Back-to-back seasons where we start the year with Victory Monday. It's been a long time though since they started 2-0. Do you know when the last time it was?
I do. 1993 when Bill Belichick was the head coach. So
About 30 years.
yeah.
So we'll talk about the upcoming matchup. To see if what we think if the Browns will start the season 2-0. But first, let's get into yesterday's big win against the AFC runner-up, Cincinnati Bengals.
Yes, a very uh, a very weird game weather-wise. I don't think the conditions were. They certainly weren't ideal, but I don't think they were what they expected. We heard fans and players and coaches say that, but um, while it may not show it on the scoreboard on the final box score, but throughout the first two quarters, it was a pretty tight game. Both Burrow and Watson struggled to make plays. Cleveland led 10-0 at the half, and it was a tight battle. You knew it wouldn't be easy.
Yeah, like I said, both quarterbacks struggled. But even so, Joe Burrow seemed to be pretty accurate, and he just had a bunch of balls batted down or contested or otherwise well defended by the Browns secondary, who played out of their minds. Really only one real mistake with a pass interference penalty that led to the 3 points by Denzel Ward, but that was a good aggressive play, and he was outstanding all game. Certainly Joe Burrow not practicing much in the offseason could have impacted it, but he seemed healthy. Otherwise, I think the Browns just their scheme on defense was wonderful. And, Deshaun, I think, left some plays on the field. He'd probably be the first one to say that, especially in the passing game. But it was more than enough to get it done. And then, Nick Chubb, I think, just carried the team. Literally at times, he rushed for over 100 yards. He proved that he's still one of the best, if not the best, rushers in the NFL.
Yeah, and Chubb also led the Browns in receptions yesterday with 4. And what can you say about him that hasn't already been said? 106 yards. Didn't quite get him into the end zone like I thought they would, but the rushing touchdown that Deshaun Watson had with moments to spare entering the halftime was a 13-yard rushing touchdown that Watson mentioned after the game. They schemed into the playbook the morning before, and he also added that it was a play call that he changed at the line of scrimmage. And what I think of is what we've heard all offseason. While it is a small sample size, I like kind of that feel of a QB that can see and read defense and make a new play call when you feel it's necessary. And then, of course, it works out.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think we both agree, and fans think too. Deshaun will get better. He's still, new to the offense, new to the team and the scheme and all that. But what I really liked and really want to point out is that Stefanski continues to clearly just scheme receivers open. You got to hit them, and I think eventually he will hit them, with more accuracy in the future, especially in better weather games. But hey, look, we know in Cleveland there's going to be bad weather games. It could be in September, it could be December, and then could be January too. We got to hopefully that's a good problem to have, hosting playoff games. So, I think we can't wait to see what this offense can do if Deshaun is firing on all cylinders. Nick, question for you. The defense was outstanding. Do we think they can maintain that sort of pressure on opposing quarterbacks and opposing receivers for, another 16 games?
It's definitely going to be tough, but I think they can. And two reasons I really believe that is, not only Miles Garrett, but now they have Zadarius Smith on the other end and other great pieces that they've added, Agoronkro, uh, Delvin Tomlinson on the line. Obo had one of the 2 sacks, and I believe that came on the first or second play of the game. And I heard, you know, while it was only 2 sacks, we hit the quarterback 10 times in the game, and just we've heard it all off season, and it certainly showed in game one. The players are playing with their seatbelts off, something they did not have in the Joe Woods system. So hopefully they can maintain that with Coach Jim Schwartz.
Yeah, and just to go back to the secondary, everyone was excellent, and a player that stood out to me and probably stood out to everyone was Grant Delpit. He really improved second half of last year, and he was fantastic yesterday. He led the team in tackles, filling in for Juan Thornhill, right? That was kind of a big setback for the team. He has 2 Super Bowl rings and knows what it takes to win with the Chiefs. So hopefully he gets back healthy, but good to know that, hey, we got plenty of guys in the secondary that can step up and help this team win. So, just great team win. And also the kicking situation. Look, he's got to prove it week in and week out, but it was nice to see 3 kicks plus the PAT pretty much go right down the middle in bad weather. So, got to give credit to Dustin Hopkins on those kicks too.
Definitely. That was good news to see. I know fans were unsure, didn't know what to expect because we did not watch what Hopkins was not part of the roster until game one. It was all Katie York in the preseason. One final point before we move on to the upcoming schedule. Fans probably heard it by now. They certainly knew about it, but the official news on Jack Conklin, he went down and he's going to be out the whole year with a torn ACL and MCL. Disappointing loss for the team. You hate to see it any week, but especially week one. But what we did see is Dewan Jones from OSU, the rookie, get to fill in. And I already heard Stefanski speak today about how he believes his unique talent will fit in well with the offensive line, and he's going to have to prepare for TJ Watt.
Yeah, you hate to see Jack Conklin go down, and hopefully he can recover and come back at some point if he wants to. But as we know, down for the season. Yeah, Dewan filled in. The offense didn't skip a beat. He looked pretty good out there. He's still going to have to make adjustments. We know he has the physical capabilities to do what needs to be done in the NFL. But from a scheme point of view and making sure he's on the right assignments every play, that'll learn. It takes some time to learn. So I think we got to be patient with him. But hey, the Browns have Bill Callahan, probably the best offensive line coach too. So you got to feel good about that. But really hoping that the rest of the team, the O-line, just avoids serious injuries in the future. But unfortunately, for Conklin, that didn't happen. But we'll see. Yeah, like you said, huge test, which brings us to TJ Watt and the Pittsburgh Steelers. They got crushed by the 49ers, which is great for Browns fans to see. But TJ Watt had 3 sacks. Nick, how do you think we're going to stop him?
It's tough to scheme for TJ Watt. We know he went down in the season last year. I don't believe he missed the entire year, but I just think they're going to have to, double team him like the way our opponents double or sometimes triple team Garrett. I can't think of the opposing player on his end. So I think we can mainly focus on TJ and just get pressure on Pickett, like the way we put pressure on Burrow, which kind of surprised me. And what I mean by that is I heard that Schwartz isn't much of a blitzing coach, but they did that often yesterday. So we'll see what happens. I'm not extremely knowledgeable, but I'm very looking forward to a game a week from today.
Yeah, Monday Night Football, the crowd's going to be going crazy. They don't like us. We don't like them. So looking forward to hopefully starting 2-0. Going in against a team that the Browns just kind of like the Browns, the opposite of Browns Bengals recently. Just we have not had much success against the Steelers. They're well coached. They're very talented. They got a young quarterback that everyone seems to be hyping up, and so the Browns are going to have to come to play. There's no guarantees or anything. I had the Browns, going back to our last episode, losing this game. Nick, did you have them winning or losing?
I had them winning and starting off 2-0. Nothing's a gimme, especially in Pittsburgh and a primetime game. Hopefully the weather's better and you get more big plays from Watson, and the defense can, play like they did in week 1.
Yeah.
Well, sorry to cut you off. The point is they're not going to go 17-0. I just don't see it happening. But what we saw in week 1, I think they can maintain throughout the majority of the year.
Yeah, and I'd like to, again, we'll look back at the end of the season to see what our initial predictions ended up, who was correct or what the results were. But I would like to change my prediction to a Browns win. I agree. I think they'll start 2-0. But again, got to go on the field and prove it Monday night. So can't wait to see that happen. And hopefully, Stefanski can get them ready.
Definitely. And looking forward to the game.
Yep. All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening. You've been listening to the Cleveland Sports Bros podcast.